Welcome to the City Manager's Report. The City Manager's Report, a look at city updates and municipal news, and a preview of the next Oshkosh Common Council meeting agenda. Your hosts, Emily Springstrow of Oshkosh Media and City Manager Mark Roloff.
Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us on GovTV for your City Manager's Report, your source for all of the latest and greatest news and updates happening here in our city of Oshkosh, as well as a preview of the upcoming Common Council meeting agenda. I'm your host, Emily Springstrow, joined as always by our City Manager, Mark Roloff. Welcome, Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Emily.
So we're going to go ahead and dive into our hot topics for the first half of today's show. We'll take a little break and then we'll return with a review of the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. So without further ado, let's go ahead and move forward here, Mark. And of course, we got to open the show. The talk of the town has been Lakeshore, Oshkosh Corp, Lakeshore. Tell us, what's the latest update? We've had some pretty big things happening in the past couple of weeks here. So where are we at right now?
Well, sure. After a lot of discussion, debate, a lot of emotion, the council was presented with a package that we made public last week in terms of what we were proposing to Oshkosh Corporation for them to consider building their new global headquarters here in Oshkosh. What the council did was approve what is really the basis for an eventual land sale and then development incentive package that Oshkosh Corporation could present to their board of directors for consideration. So there were really three components there. One was the land sale itself, which is for a lot of communities, that's not the issue because it's not municipally owned land. In our case, this is municipally owned land we're talking about. Then infrastructure. Some places already have infrastructure in place. Because of the way Lakeshore was constructed, the area where the headquarters is proposed to go is somewhat remote, so we have to get infrastructure there. And then finally, an incentive package that we had to take a look at what other communities have been doing, what best practices have been in other parts of the country, other parts of the state, to say what are we going to do to aggressively pursue and retain a business like a Fortune 500 company like Oshkosh Corporation is. So that's a lot to absorb in a very short amount of time. We did have some closed sessions with council to determine what was going to be competitive for us without revealing our and compromising our ability to compete for this global headquarters site.
Mm-hmm. So last night's meeting, they approved this incentive package that you just kind of went over here. So what's next? What's the next step? When are we going to hear from Oshkosh Corp? What's going on?
Well, I know that Greater Oshkosh EDC is preparing a formal package of a community proposal that will include all the information that the council approved in their terms and conditions sheet. The rendering that you see there gives you an idea of what it would look like, how it would sit relative to the golf course and to the rest of the area, as well as, of course, Lake Butimore, which is the big feature that we have there. Mm-hmm. This is going to be presented to Oshkosh Corporation Board of Directors. Their staff will make a recommendation to their board, and we hope to hear from them sometime around the 1st of December, and then we'll know whether or not we've successfully bid on that. I'd like to believe it's a slam dunk, but it isn't, and we have to be cautious about that. But I remain cautiously optimistic that we've developed a very competitive proposal that's consistent with what other communities do. Mm-hmm. This isn't, we just absolutely, gave away more than what other communities have offered in the past. I think we've been consistent, which is, I think, what they wanted to see. And it's something that says we have enjoyed our first 100 years with you, and we want to have you here for at least 100 more.
Let's hope so. So this whole process, it's gone pretty quickly here, hoping to hear by December 1st, like you said. What can you say about this whole experience and what's led up to this point, all of the public input, all of the meetings? Tell us a little bit about your feelings.
There are people I know who golf over at Lakeshore. Some of them have been very angry about this. I hope that they can come to understand the necessity for us to be very competitive. But at the same time, I respect their right to be heard. I wish we could have had a lot more open dialogue about this, but to remain competitive, we couldn't. I hope people can understand that. I think it was great that people on both sides came out and expressed their concerns about the future, whether that was about parkland, about a golf course and a legacy of that golf course, or about the future of our community. Everybody who spoke had a passion, regardless of what that passion might be. It was very important for us as a community to get that out, to vent or to express our concerns. And I'm very proud of our community for allowing this process to go through, as difficult as it was for everybody. It was difficult for me, my staff. The council was contacted endlessly about this, and the pressure they were under, and there's perceived winners and losers. I hope that everybody in the community realizes that the community wins when we work together, even in disagreement, that we win as a group when we debate these issues, get them out there, and then ultimately do something that collectively we believe is being done in the best interest of our community.
Definitely. Could not say it better. So thank you for the update, Mark. We're looking forward to hearing more, hopefully some big updates coming up in the next few weeks here. So moving on, next item that we want to talk about is a little update. We got some information about Murdoch and the construction that's been going on out there. So do we have a completion date yet?
We believe that weather permitting, that we should be able to be done before Thanksgiving, which was always our goal. But we've had a lot of delays out there. We've had delays with CN Railroad giving us permits to do crossings over there, and that's just kind of backed up everything else. We've since addressed most of those issues, or at least we're working around them. So we believe that as long as if Mother Nature is cooperating with us, that we'll be done by Thanksgiving. But if we're not done for any reason, we're going to patch whatever is left to be done, and we'll take care of it in the spring. But at this point, I believe we'll get most of it done. There may be a little restoration later on. But fortunately, I know there were a lot of people who we inconvenienced with the closure of Bowen and Murdoch. Bowen and Murdoch is not going to be closed anymore. All the work there has been done. So that'll remain open. So we appreciate everybody's patience with this. It tried our patience as well, but you just keep plugging away at it, and eventually we get a good outcome.
Well, we're happy to kind of start seeing the end of the construction projects on the streets, especially this one. So thanks for the update on that. And you can definitely find updates on street closures on our city website as well. The lane closure update is posted there, and you can subscribe to updates sent directly to your inbox as well. So we want to get a little plug in for a really cool event coming this weekend at the Oshkosh Public Library. That's in partnership with the museum, and it's called World War II in Song. It's in honor of Veterans Day weekend, and it's really going to be a really cool event. Yep.
Different Veterans Day events do different things, but the museum said, let's go back. We're honoring the 100th anniversary of America's involvement in World War I. I'm wearing my little flower here in honor of my grandfather who served in World War I, got a Purple Heart back in World War I, really cool.
Wow.
So World War I in Song is what we're going to be honoring. So if you're a George M. Cohen fan over there, they're going to be doing this. Even though the museum is sponsoring it, it's being hosted by the Oshkosh Public Library under the dome, Sunday, November 12th at 3:30 p.m. So
they've got great acoustics at the library. I think that's the main reason that they headed over there, and it's just a beautiful place to have the event. But I feel like it's one of those types of concerts, one of those types of things where it's just going to give you goosebumps.
It really is. So we're very excited. It's a great way to honor Veterans Day. Just a little different, but it maybe adding a little fun with the music and everything. So, but it is the 100th anniversary of our involvement in World War I, so we felt that was the right thing to do.
Yes. So Sunday, November 12th, 3:30, Oshkosh Public Library under the dome. A lot of other Veterans Day activities, Veterans Weekend. Friday, Oshkosh Media will be out covering an event. Saturday, we will on Veterans Day. Sunday, there's a lot going on. So be sure to keep an eye on our website, on our Facebook page. We'll be posting a lot of really great videos of our coverage of Veterans Day activities. And we will be recording the audio at this event, World War I in Song. And be on the lookout for that at a future Oshkosh Public Museum exhibit. Moving down our line here, we've got Holiday Parade coming up next weekend already, Mark, coming up on November 16th.
You can't deny the holidays are coming upon us. The weather's just starting to bite us, so we know it's here. But the Business Improvement District is taking over the Holiday Parade, and they have a sponsor, Windward Wealth Strategies, that's sponsoring the Holiday Parade, and it's going to be Thursday, November 16th at 6:30 p.m. And of course, Emily and the folks at Oshkosh Media are covering it.
We'll be bundling up.
Bundling up for sure, but it'll also get posted to our website,
Right.
YouTube, Facebook, all that. So we're real excited about it. Brings people downtown. It just gets the holidays kicked off. We do ours a little earlier. That's why I think we call it the holiday, because it's long before Thanksgiving as well. So
It is.
we cover everything when we say the Holiday Parade.
Kicking off the whole season. The theme this year is Charlie Brown Christmas, so I'm really excited to see what people do with that, with their floats, and just a great opportunity to get the community together and start celebrating the holidays. And then it's a good kickoff for Whoville Holiday that next weekend as well downtown. And then, of course, we got to give a little seasonal update for Thanksgiving. Speaking of the holidays, we got some updates and closings, the usual annual things. Go Transit bus service and their offices will be closed on November 23rd. They'll reopen on Friday, November 24th, though. City Hall, of course, will be closed on November 24th. And then the garbage and recycling, they will not be doing collection on November 23rd, Thursday the 23rd. The remainder of the week, if you got skipped on the Thursday, your day will be one day later. So, Mark, you were telling us you're one of the lucky ones that gets to throw their leftovers out on Friday, right?
Yeah, exactly. That'll work out great.
And then, of course, the yard waste drop-off site will be closed on that day as well. So go to the city website. We'll be posting media releases next week with the details on all of that if you've got questions. Speaking of questions, it's that time of the show where viewers have the chance to ask their city manager anything they want about things that are happening right here in Oshkosh. So let's see what the question is this week. So question this week, Mark, is when does leaf collection end?
Real simple question. Thanks for that one.
Another good seasonal question.
The seasonal collection will end the week of November 13th, so the last day of collection will be Friday, November 17th. That's the official end date. Of course, the reason we end it that soon is because our leaf collection trucks have to get changed over to snow removal trucks. So we do that, but we will, as long as there are trucks that haven't been converted and there's still time, we'll do catch as catch can on leaf collection.
So put them out anyway. They might pick them up.
Put them out, and we'll try to collect them as we can. But we can also suggest that try to do it next week if you can, and then you'll be in good shape. Hopefully the leaves will go down, but we know Mother Nature doesn't always cooperate, so we'll do it that way. But you can also there's other provisions to get your leaves bagged later on and things like that. So take a look at our website and know if you don't get out to get the leaves out there before the 17th, that there may still be some other options available to you.
Yes, there will be a seasonal yard waste pickup day, as well as the yard waste drop-off site that will be available, although they'll be moving to their winter hours starting on December 1st. So like you said, on the website, lots of great tools. Just go to the Public Works page and you can find all that right there. So if you'd like to send a question to Mark for his question mark segment, send it to us on Twitter at City of Oshkosh, post it on the Oshkosh Media Facebook wall, or email it to questionmark@ci.oshkosh.wi.us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of City Manager's Report. So we're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll dive into the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. We'll be right back on City Manager's Report.
Explore the riches of prehistoric and early life that spans 13,000 years in the new People of the Waters exhibition at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Discover how the Ice Age transformed the landscape. Experience living in a full-size recreated longhouse. Uncover the past and learn the secrets of the fur trade. People of the Waters, a new interactive exhibition at the Oshkosh Public Museum. Discover more at oshkoshmuseum.org.
Welcome back to City Manager's Report. Thanks again for joining us. We're in the second half of the show, so we're going to go ahead and get right into the Common Council meeting agenda for Tuesday, November 14th, 2017. So, Mark, they're going to kick off the meeting with a presentation at 5 o'clock, and that is on charging for police, fire, and rescue at special events. So that'll be before the meeting starts, 5 o'clock, and then the meeting will begin at 6 o'clock. And first item that we kind of wanted to talk about here, Mark, is the 2018 city budget. Very first thing, public hearing. Tell us a little bit about the process so far. Where are we at?
The council has been reviewing the budget. They've held 5 workshops already. The most 2 recent ones were presentations by departments. Those were all-day workshops at which the departments presented the budgets to the council. At this point, the way the budget was presented to council, the increase in our general fund budget was slightly less than 2%, although because of frozen state aids and things of that nature, the levy is proposed to go up 3.9%. The council is still taking consideration of anything that might happen and other changes they may want to make, but they won't have their final workshop until after this public hearing. So we'll have this hearing on the meeting of the 14th, and then on the 15th at 5 o'clock, the council will have an additional budget workshop, basically to take in all the public input they've received at the hearing and through other methods, emails and things like that. We'll also, at the 15th, have a presentation from Public Works on the capital improvement program. And then the council begins their deliberations, gives staff some ideas on changes they might want to make to the budget, and then staff will do the appropriate analysis. We've already done a little bit of analysis that we'll share with the council at that meeting. And then, assuming that they're all comfortable with the changes, we'll make one more revision and present that to council so they can take a look at it and make sure the whole package looks right for them before they consider it for adoption on November 28th. We need to get all that done because tax bills have to go out as a result of the budget, and we like to get the tax bills prepared and all the numbers ready by around the first week of December.
Okay. Process went pretty smoothly this year, now that we're already getting close to the end.
I think it did. Our finance director, Trina Larson, and her staff have done an outstanding job of putting all the information together, providing information to departments, and going back and forth so that the information we present to council allows council to make an informed decision so they know exactly what they're getting into in terms of what the budget entails. And of course, our budget's online. It's available at the public library if you want to take a look at it. If you have any questions, certainly, council members are always willing to take input on that. Or if you have questions about the budget, feel free to contact us at City Hall.
Definitely. And all the budget workshops and obviously city council meetings were covered by Oshkosh Media. So just check out our YouTube page or our website and you can take a look at those past budget workshops as well, see what the discussion looked like there. Moving on, very next item, we have an approval amendment to the comprehensive land use maps, and that is changing land use designation for properties located on the south side of Highway 91 between Clairville Road and State Highway 44, and that's going from industrial to residential. So kind of a mouthful, that item, but kind of tell us what's changing in that location from industrial to residential.
In the past, we've identified everything pretty much west of Highway 44 as industrial. However, as we've been taking a look at it and taking a look at market forces and everything, we believe it may be appropriate to consider a portion of that south of Highway 91 for some residential and maybe some light retail, commercial, mainly because it's more accessible to Highway 44, and there is a little bit of need for retail as industrial growth goes. But we would still have industrial growth north of Highway 91. And then you can see on the far west side of this map, Clairville Road, the residential that's being proposed to convert east of Clairville is just east of Clairville. So west of Clairville, both north and south of Highway 91 would continue to be planned for industrial. And we've had some modest growth in industrial, but not a great deal. And we believe we have a sufficient amount of industrial land available for the very distant future. So we feel it's appropriate that we take a look at planning this area with some residential and just see if that helps stimulate some growth in our community.
Excellent. Moving on to the consent agenda items, we've got an item here. It's approval of the agreement with Faust Excavating, Inc. for 2017-2017 18, snow and ice removal. So what exactly is this referring to, Mark?
Well, sadly, what it means is that winter is coming. But part of that is that we want to educate the public that the expectation is that residents and property owners along the street remove ice and snow from their sidewalks within 24 hours after a snow event. And if not, if we get a complaint or we happen to notice it, then we have an obligation to remove it. And that'll be billed to the property owner because there's an ordinance in place that says you must remove the snow and ice. So this, we take out bids, and the cost that we get plus cost it for us to administer it gets passed on to the property owner. So for an average 100-foot wide lot, it's about $100. So we aren't doing it to penalize people. It's just more to get them to take care of it so we don't have to go hire a contractor to take care of it. And we have to document before and after, so there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's a lot of work and inconvenience for us. We certainly have better things to do, but we do have to ensure public safety, and this is how we do it.
Exactly. It's a safety issue. It's not just the city being sticklers about shoveling. You really got to think about how often those sidewalks get used and how dangerous it can be if they're not cleared, especially with ice.
Exactly.
So definitely. Well, great. Thanks for the background on that, Mark. Moving down the agenda here, we've got a resolution for railroad cooperation on public works projects. So we've talked a little bit about this for various projects. This one relates a lot to the arena project. So kind of give us some background on where this one came from and what it's for.
Well, you know, we already mentioned Murdoch was delayed to a certain degree by lack of cooperation from CN Railroad. And I hate to bash CN Railroad, but they are not very responsive, and they're very bureaucratic, and it takes a great deal of time to get things done. And we feel that it's reached a point where council action is necessary. So what we're doing is we're just making it known to our federal legislators who regulate railroads that CN is not playing nice in the sandbox. They have delayed the arena project. We've done our best to work around it. But at the same time, we identified 14th Avenue as the location where we should cross the tracks to get over to the lake to get stormwater out of there. We would like to loop water in there for long term to provide some benefit to that area. And CN Railroad has essentially ignored us in our attempts to get approvals that we provided them months ago. We're just not getting cooperation. So what that means is all the other work's going to be done by the time the arena opens. But that area right underneath the tracks on 14th Avenue, the storm sewer is going to be undersized. And what that means is once the stormwater, if we get enough stormwater, once it hits that funnel, it's going to start backing up. And it could potentially cause flooding. And that's going to be directly a result of CN not being responsive. So I think council reached a boiling point. You can tell I'm not real thrilled about it. And I think council is just saying, you know what, we agree with Mark and we're going to let our voices be known. And I think it's going to be beneficial that council expresses their disappointment in how CN Railroad is just not being responsive. So we've heard it from businesses. Now we're saying it ourselves that now that we have this experience that we cannot tolerate this because it's going to create a health and safety issue for our community. So we're going to make our wishes known.
Definitely. Well, we look forward to some very good discussion on this in the council meeting as well, and even more background. But it's great to hear kind of some of the things that happen behind the scenes that a lot of people might not even realize are happening. So moving on to new ordinances, Mark, we've got a couple of items related to each other. And this is dealing with the Housing Code of the Municipal Code regarding carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors. Now tell us a little bit about this and how it's related to inspections.
Well, as our inspectors go out, they identify many different they have a list of violations that they're looking for, and these are things that are health and safety issues. And at the top of the list are smoke detectors and carbon monoxide CO detectors. And when they're not there, we want people to get those things in there. And there's state code that provides for that, but we don't have citation authority over those. All we can do is simply point it out, but we don't have enforcement capability. The purpose of these ordinances are to allow us to be able to enforce CO detectors and smoke detector violations and be able to cite them if necessary. This will give us that capability. We believe it's necessary for us to more effectively enforce our inspection ordinances, particularly as it relates to rental inspections, but it'll also let everybody know that we would like them to follow proper safety procedures.
So it's been on the checklist for inspections for a while, and now this is really just basically allowing us to enforce that.
Correct.
Perfect. Under new resolutions, we've got one last item we wanted to discuss, and that's the approval of the Imagine Oshkosh, a master plan for our Center City and Central City investment strategy. Give us a little background on what Imagine Oshkosh is and some of the awesome things that they're recommending.
Well, Imagine Oshkosh is simply the pet name that we gave to what was called the Central City Investment Strategy. A lot of people may recall that the city had a downtown action plan that was adopted about the year 2000, 2001, and we pretty much had done everything on that list. So the council felt that it was not just about downtown, which is considered North Main Street, but it's North Main Street, it's South Main Street, it's all the components that make our central city. And they've identified multiple areas, and there's a different mini strategy within the central city for each of these individual areas. The one that got the most attention, of course, was the Sawdust District, because that was the name we attached to the area around the Menominee Nations Arena now, when we were wooing the Bucks to take a look at that. So the Sawdust District is just one example, but we're taking a look at North Main Street, South Main Street, the South Shore, Oregon Street, all these areas that are individual components of the downtown area and the central city area. And House CEO Levine will be making a presentation earlier in the meeting, and then having council take a look at this master plan and saying, how do we want the future to look like in our central city? We've gotten a lot of input, some really good input from so many different people, the public, the business community, just different people who are stakeholders, businesses in the downtown area itself. So we're very appreciative of all that work that they've done, and we want to just see where we're going to go with it and have council approve a new master plan for our central city.
And I think one of the greatest things that you just mentioned at the end of your overview there is the input. It's really been a pet project in our community, and people have really gotten on board with it. So we're happy to see that, and we're really excited to see what they come up with.
Oh, absolutely. You know, the Menominee Nations Arena was obviously a big part of that, and that may have helped give a little jolt to it. And then after the arena started construction, things kind of died down. It's like, no, we have to finish this. That was just one component of it. Now we have all these other components that people can talk about and really get ideas. Well, can we do this or that in this area? And it's really to stimulate ideas for future investment in our central city.
And it's such an exciting time for Oshkosh, and I think that really kind of gets you revved up when you see this plan too. So
oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, that's going to do it. We're just about out of time here on City Manager's Report. So Mark, as always, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, happy to do it.
Again, the Common Council meeting is this Tuesday, November 14th at 6 p.m. You can watch it live on GovTV and on our website at oshkoshmedia.org, or you can listen to it on 101.9 Oshkosh FM, which is also online and on the TuneIn Radio app. Make sure you like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter for all of your community and government programming and updates, or check out our YouTube channel for government meeting replays and past episodes of some of your favorite programs. Don't forget, if you have a question for City Manager Mark Roloff, you can send it to us on Twitter, post it on our Facebook page, or email us, and he'll answer it on the next episode of CMR. As always, thank you so much for joining us on City Manager's Report, and we'll see you next time.